Yo, Hendo here, the average use Slowpitch. Today, we finally had some time where actual bat reviews themselves will slow down a little bit, so we're gonna do something slightly different. We're gonna go ahead and test out kind of the different Pro-Ms. Now, obviously, we don't have every single Pro-M out there, but we have kind of the most used ones, at least in my opinion, and then a couple other ones out there. So we're gonna have out there the Razzo Pro-Ms, the Gold Dot Pro-Ms, ZN Pro-Ms, Hardcores, and then they're at an Onyx Pro-M. So those are our 5 Pro-M balls. And then just because we know some leagues you can use stuff that aren't stamped and whatnot, we also got the blue stitched Worth Super Duper. So those are still 44,375. So the same specs as a Pro-M, but they're not stamped. But we'll have them out here. And then we're gonna finish with, just for fun, some stadiums for any of those guys who can use, like the outlaw leagues, whatever you wanna call them, backyard, you can use whatever kind of ball you want. So we're each gonna get 5 swings, that's it, with each ball. To keep this video from being crazy long, you're just gonna see the best swing. So kind of on a line drive, speed-wise, from each person. And at the very end, I'll put up each person's highest speed with each ball, and then kind of the average from those 5, since you won't see all the swings, and you can kind of see how the different balls performed. But we'll go ahead and do that. We're gonna be using the Culture today. This is kind of my backup gamer, the same one we used in the APC video here recently. It's testing right now right at 260. So by the end of this, I'm hoping it's sitting right there at 250, kind of game ready, but figure, hey, why not use the bat I need to break in anyways and do kind of a 2-for-1 here. So let's go ahead. I'll let you know which balls we're using as we go for each person, and then we'll come back, like I said, real quick final thoughts.
109 miles per hour.
Oh my goodness. Onyx balls for the win here.
96 miles per hour. 94 miles per hour.
There it is, pieced.
108 miles per hour.
All right, well, we're done with Onyx balls.
99 miles per hour.
All right, let's.
89 miles per hour. 85 miles per hour.
Nice little piece.
But the Culture's forgiving.
Yeah.
96 miles per hour.
There we have it with our Worth Gold Dots, moving over to the Razzo Pro-Ms.
105 miles per hour.
Man, the Razzos are slept on, I'll tell you that right now.
94 miles per hour. 89 miles per hour.
Peace.
96 miles per hour.
Man, those balls come off real good.
Yeah.
All right, we're done with the Razzos. Now we're moving over to regular ZN Pro-Ms. ZNs, not hardcores, just regular ZNs.
107 miles per hour.
Now, these balls, don't get me wrong, we're seeing the performance of different balls, but just remember too, if you haven't swung this Culture, I think there's a couple still in stock. I'm telling you, don't miss out. This bat's wild.
94 miles per hour.
All right.
96 miles per hour.
Oh, the ZN seem to be it.
Right?
106 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Well, here's our regular ZNs. Seeing some wild speeds. We're moving on now to our hardcores. ZN hardcores. Right?
101 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
The hardcores, every bit in my mind flies far stadiums, and we're gonna find that out today.
97 miles per hour. 98 miles per hour.
Nice.
And just like that, he finishes even stronger.
100 miles per hour.
I mean, I would have liked to hit a line drive with one of those. Got a little under them, but to be at 100 miles an hour, ball going that far, there's our hardcores for you. Either way, we're moving now over to Super Dupers, which, yeah, they're not stamped. They are 44,375. So we figure we'll throw them in there. I know people swing them at certain tournaments, WSL, things like that, where the numbers change just slightly. But hey, figure why not throw them in there before the stadiums.
102 miles per hour. 91 miles per hour. 93 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour.
Well, and there we have it for super dupers. So yeah, they honestly, they feel pretty true to Pro-Ms. Again, I know same specs. Feels a little bit softer than probably like the Razzos or ZNs, but not as soft as like the gold dots. But you saw performance there. We're gonna move on now, finish with stadiums. This is more for just for fun. I don't even know if I've hit a stadium before, but I think honestly from everyone I've talked to, they're pretty much like a hardcore as far as flight. But because the hardcores have that softer exterior or outer cover, you have to really square them up, so the forgiveness isn't as good. Stadiums, you get the hardcore flight, but they're hard and they're gonna be real forgiving.
105 miles per hour.
There's the wild part on stadiums right there.
Yeah.
105
I
with
like
some angle and just crushed.
98 miles per hour.
Nice.
93 miles per hour.
All right.
107 miles per hour.
And there you have it. There's all the different balls. We're gonna go ahead and pick all these up before it gets dark. I'll try to get the final thoughts as soon as we're done if we have enough light. Otherwise, you'll see me back in the garage here shortly. But hopefully that kind of helped you out, seeing some of these different Pro-Ms. I'll talk to them about it while we're out there, and I'll just come over here. Quick rundown, like I said, stand by. You're gonna see all the average and stuff right now before the final thoughts. All right, and as you can see, we just barely beat our sunset out here. Sundown was about 10, 15 minutes ago, so we're really running out of light quick. But again, this won't be a super long wrap up. You saw kind of the performance of all the balls. You saw the chart or list I just put up a second ago of kind of everyone's top speed with each ball and then kind of each person's average. So again, we each had the 5 swings. I did do a little differently than from the intro. You saw 1 swing from each of those guys, 2 for myself. And it was just because the way we were kind of introing each ball and outroing each ball, I just happened to be doing that, and so it just worked out that way. But either way, you saw the numbers there. As of recording the outro, I haven't sat down, obviously, since I'm still at the field and gone through those numbers, so they're obviously a little more accurate there than what I can remember off the top of my head. But either way, what we saw for me was the gold dots and then the super dupers, which again, the super dupers aren't actually USSSA stamped, so not a big deal there. But if you have an option to use those in certain leagues, things like that, just those seem to be kind of on the lower end of the... They all perform great, let me caveat that, but the lower end where we saw 99 or whatever as kind of like, I think my low end speed on the 2 swings, whatever it might be, and you just saw a slight uptick with the ZNs, the Razzos, and what am I forgetting? Yeah, so the ZNs, the Razzos. Then where I think you saw, and I kind of expected after using them this past weekend at BSC, but those Onyx Pro-Ms for a ball that's legally allowed to be used, at least from my understanding, I haven't heard of anywhere where it's banned, where it's allowed to be used in any USSSA platform. I think that's probably the best, and we saw it today, USSSA stamped Pro-M ball. The reason I say that over like the hardcore is because at least we're at out here in New Mexico, the hardcores, are not able to be used in most leagues, most tournaments, things like that. When we go to BSC, I know hardcores aren't allowed to be used, things like that as well. So obviously take what you saw here, depending on what your league allows. But for me, based on what I know as far as legal balls and not currently, I would rank it the Onyx ball, followed by the Razzo Pro-M, then the ZN, and then the gold dot right there at the bottom. But again, you'd be fine with any of those. I've seen in the past, heat-wise, I feel like the gold dots are the most prone to really getting soft, followed by the ZNs. And then the Razzos do pretty well in the heat, but again, none of those balls are really meant to be cooked, so just kind of keep that in mind. The Onyx balls down at BSC, they didn't seem to have any issues in the heat. Again, though, keep the balls out of the garage, keep the balls out of the trunk of your cars, out of the sun, all that kind of stuff. And so in between games, whatever it might be, put them somewhere where they're not just baking. And then obviously when you're at home, I would store them indoors personally. You don't cook them in your garage. And then as you saw kind of at the end with hardcores and stadiums, which we kind of compared because there's been some debate I've heard people talking about when they're playing on the bigger fields and allowed to use them, which ball is actually better. I think with the stadium, you do get more forgiveness because it's a harder outer cover, but I don't know if the ball necessarily flies further. I think the hardcores, when you square them up, you'll get the most flight out of them. However, you're gonna get the most consistent flight and distance out of the stadiums in my mind because of how forgiving they are on that outer cover. So just kind of something to keep in mind there. I don't know what they'll be using down here soon at like Conference World Series. We'll see what those guys are using, whether it's stadiums or hardcores. I'm gonna guess stadiums, but you're gonna see those balls fly. Again, we didn't necessarily, I probably should have hit a few more line drives by the end. Honestly, I was putting a little more lift than I should have, but we saw 100 plus elevated and then way into our rock quarry, which you know out there's a pretty good shot. So again, you can kind of put in perspective as you level that ball out. what exactly it's doing performance-wise. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed kind of seeing the comparison. We've had different people ask us, what's the best Pro-Am? What balls do we swing? All that kind of stuff. Now you've kind of seen it all on tape. You can make a decision. Either way, any of the balls that are carried at headbangersports.com, you can use code ADS. The one little gotcha on there is you add balls into the cart with Headbangers. If you add more than 1 dozen, you're going to see it's going to pop up with a little discount. And so like 2 dozen balls, you get 2 dozen or $2 off. 3 dozen, $3 off, so on and so forth. To use the ADS code and get the full 10% off, which is going to be a bigger discount for you, what you're going to need to do is right before you go to checkout in your cart, there's a spot that says you're going to use a coupon instead. Mark use coupon, put code ADS in, then you'll get the full 10% discount, which will then increase, obviously, your discount at that point. But if you're having trouble with that, just reach out to me. I'll get you kind of squared away. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll try to bring you more videos like this during the off season as kind of the bat drop slowdown, things like that. And while I've got out here again, pick up the DeMarini Culture before it sells out. I'm telling you, this bat is crazy good. Obviously, the performance of the balls is great, but you got to have a bat that can do it as well. And I don't know what DeMarini did with this Culture, but it's just a huge step up from the rest APCs, which are all already gas. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a great night. Thanks for supporting the channel.